Yo, 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 yo. So, I know I have been gone for a while and I've seen a lot of things happen over the past months, but I really want to start talking about this right here, to be exact. Marjorie Taylor Greene and the feud with her and the President of the United States, aka Donald Trump. So, apparently, what has been happening is pretty much Marjorie Taylor Greene is upset that Donald Trump has not released the Epstein files. She's been talking about how they need to slow down on the mass deportations. And a lot of people have been basically saying that she's only doing this because she has a construction company and she gets to turn around and hire people for cheap labor, yada, 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 yada. However, I think this all boils down to the fact that she wants to run for senator, for state senator of Georgia, and was in hopes in receiving Donald Trump's endorsement. And of course, Marjorie Taylor Greene is not really all of that much of an electable person. And she kind of was polling 22% behind another guy, I forgot his name. And so when Donald Trump turned around and showed her this, that kind of hurt her feelings. So without further ado, she's over here on CNN apologizing to the left, of course, and the Democrat Party for political rhetoric and all this and that and the third. So let's look into it.
It's the political breakup heard round the world. President Trump severing ties with at least one of his closest allies, declaring, I'm withdrawing my support and endorsement of Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, even calling for primary challenges against his one-time loyalists and attacking her as, quote, wacky, a ranting lunatic, a rhino, and a traitor. This is days before the House of Representatives is set to vote on
releasing the Epstein files.
It's a stunning breach between two MAGA leaders. One of whom is here with me now exclusively for her first interview since the president cut ties. Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia, thank you so much for being here. As you just heard, and I know you saw, the president says he's withdrawing support for you, encouraging primary challengers. You were one of his biggest supporters. What do you think happened here?
Well, Dana, thank you for having me on, and that is true. I stood with President Trump when virtually no one else did. Campaigned all over the country, spent millions of my own dollars helping him get elected, and I think that's incredibly important. And I do support him and his administration, and I support them in delivering the campaign promises we made to the American people. His remarks, of course, have been hurtful. However, I have something in my heart that I think is incredibly important for our country, and that is to end the toxic fighting in politics. And this has been going on for years, and it has divided our country, split up friends and families, neighbors, and it's not solving our problems. The most hurtful thing he said, which is absolutely untrue, is he called me a traitor. And that is so extremely wrong. And those are the types of words used that can radicalize people against me and put my life in danger.
What do you think happened? What do you think is the reason for this?
If you owe IRS back taxes but can't afford to pay the IRS in full, there's a new program that could help you put IRS worries behind you. What is it?
Unfortunately, it has all come down to the Epstein files, and that is shocking. And, you know, I stand with these women. I stand with rape victims. I stand with children who are in terrible sex abuse situations. And I stand with survivors of trafficking and those that are trapped in sex trafficking. And I will not apologize for that. I believe the country deserves transparency in these files. And I don't believe that rich, powerful people should be protected if they have done anything wrong. And so I'm standing with the women, and I will continue to do my small part to get the files released.
You said on X yesterday, quote, "It's astonishing really how hard he's fighting to stop the Epstein files from coming out, and that it really makes you wonder what is in those files." Are you suggesting there's something in the Epstein files that President Trump does not want Americans to see?
Well, I think that's the part that has so many people confused, is that the women themselves that I have talked to have over and over again said that Donald Trump did nothing wrong. Quite a few of them even told me they voted for him. And those are the women I would like to see in the Oval Office with support. I would like to see all of the women there with support. I have no idea what's in the files. I can't even guess, but that is the questions everyone is asking, is why fight this so hard?
Well,
Yeah, so see, now you hear some of that. There's a reason why Trump did what he did in the first place. Now, if you guys have been paying attention, for the past months, Democrats and the left have been plagiarizing, posting pictures with him and Epstein, and basically plagiarizing his signature. There's a ton of reasons as to why he called it a hoax, and I definitely understand why. Because Epstein was arrested in 2019 by none other, you guess it, Trump's DOJ from his first term. So the thing was, we already knew there was nothing incriminating on Trump in the first place. It's one of the reasons why the Democrats never really paid attention to Jeffrey Epstein until now. Because they have 4 years to declassify those files. And the amount of times they went after Trump, federal indictments, 2 attempted assassinations, they could have used the Epstein file. If there was something very incriminating against Trump in the Epstein files, they would have not hesitated to use that. They would have not hesitated to use that. The one biggest reason why they're jumping on board with MAGA when it comes to the Epstein files is because they're trying to, it's for a political gain. They don't care about the victims. They want to hurt Trump. And they want to turn America against Trump. And what I'm also afraid is Marjorie Taylor Greene is playing right into their little trick. You know, their little trick and their plot. Because now, what you see happening now for the past few days is that mainly pieces of the files and the emails and the text messages, nothing shows anything that has been incriminating on Trump at all. In fact, it's been the other way around. It's been, you find Democrats have been colluding with Epstein in order to hurt Trump and his campaign during his first term from 2016 to 2019. So I think what Marjorie Taylor Greene is probably playing into that, and she just doesn't realize that she's playing into a trick that the Democrats are basically trying to use against Trump. So we're gonna continue watching this video.
Before this blow up, you sort of alluded to this just now. You said you were confident the president wouldn't be implicated. Are you still confident of that?
I'm listening to the women. Those are the ones that are saying that he did nothing wrong. Virginia Giuffre even said under oath that Donald Trump did nothing wrong, and she wrote it in her book. So I'm continuing to listen to the women, and I think their voices should be the loudest.
The president said the reason that you have been critical of him is not necessarily Epstein, but because he pushed you not to run for the Senate or for governor in Georgia. How and when did he do that?
Well, that is absolutely not true. Actually, I never had a conversation at all with the president about running for Senate or running for Georgia. And those were decisions I came to on my own, that I don't want to have anything to do with the Senate. I think the past 2 months of the government shutdown should have shown America exactly why I would never want to be there. I think it's a very broken institution that serves the uniparty and doesn't serve the American people and how they vote. And I decided that I didn't want to run for governor this cycle either. I very much want to do the job that I'm in. Everyone else says I'm running for something, but all I want to do is serve Georgia's 14th district. And I'm very grateful for that opportunity.
So he said it pretty explicitly. Are you saying he's lying? Or did he at least get that message to somebody on your political team instead?
To be honest with you, I would have told her not to run either.
Hey, Lucy Little here, and I'm
at all. I think I would have used Marjorie Taylor Greene as somebody who I can put in my back pocket because I know she's going to be loyal. So the next time I need her, then I will pull her out. Because there was a policy in the bill that she pushed to defund Israel. I would have used her for that instead of allowing her to run.
I'm not sure. But I don't.
Not saying
that is
that
untrue. What he
she would that she wouldn't have done anything, but I would have just been like, yeah, hold off on that. Hold off on that right now. Now it's not a good time.
said. I don't know if he's being fed wrong information. I honestly have no idea in that area, but it is absolutely factually not true. Nor have I called him, and White House logs would prove that. His own cell phone records would prove it. I have not been calling the president, but I did post messages that I had sent to him, and that was to protect, get involved. This is important. The American people want the Epstein files released, and I've stood with the president. I have disagreed with him at times, Dana, and I'm allowed to do that. I think that's the most important thing we can do as Americans, and I'm urging my party. I've been putting massive pressure on my party and our speakers speaker to pass the agenda that the American people vote for. That's the agenda that I fought for. Those are the campaign promises I made. And I can disagree with the president at times, especially particularly this past Monday on the Marines' 250th anniversary, when he honored the new Syrian president, who is an Al-Qaeda terrorist and was wanted by our government for years with a $10 million bounty up until March of this year. I very much am against that. I think that was very hurtful to the great men and women who served over in the Middle East and were sent there, and many of them that were killed and injured and live with PTSD to this day.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. I would admit, that was kind of weird. This man was a former member of Al-Qaeda, now Syrian president, and you shaking his hand. That was kind of weird, but then again, I can understand foreign policy. I can understand foreign policy. And before y'all jump in my comment section, oh, you just gonna give Trump an excuse your bias and this and that and the third. If this was Joe Biden, I probably would have said the same thing. I would have said the same thing.
From fighting Al-Qaeda. So there's things I disagree with, and I'm allowed to do so.
Well, you mentioned the Syrian leader at the White House. You've also been critical of President Trump over foreign entanglements, H-1B visas. Now he's moving military assets towards Venezuela. I do want to play something that he said this week.
Don't forget, MAGA was my idea. MAGA was nobody else's idea. I know what MAGA wants better than anybody else. And MAGA wants to see our country thrive.
Do you agree? Do you think he represents the MAGA movement as he once did?
Well, what the American people voted for with MAGA was to put the American people first and stop sending foreign aid and stop being involved in foreign wars. They very much deserve to be put first. Cost of living is far too high. Health insurance is completely out of control. And those are two issues I've been very vocal on for months and months now, long before Republicans were shocked when those big losses came on this past Tuesday's election. So I think that the American people deserve to be put first. That's what Make America Great Again meant to me. And I think that President Trump can do that if he refocuses his effort. And I think that's what I want to see. I think that's what the country wants to see. Even if he's attacking me, I do want him to be successful for the American people.
So sounds like you're saying that he is not representing the MAGA movement that he started right now.
Here go Dan the Bash with the semantics. Come on now.
Make the night Cajun night.
You want to know?
I can say that promoting H-1B visas to replace American jobs, bringing in 600,000 Chinese students to replace American students' opportunities in American colleges and universities, those are not America First positions. And continuing to really travel all over the world doesn't help Americans back at home. I really, and I said this to him, and I will say it out loud, I would love to see Air Force One be parked and stay home, and there be nothing but a constant focus in the White House on a domestic agenda that helps the American people once and for all.
Congresswoman, you post.
Yeah, but you can't just focus on domestic agenda. You have to focus on foreign policy as well, too. This man is the president of the United States, one of the most powerful countries in the world. So he has to focus on both. You can't just have it one way or the other. You have to focus on both, domestic and foreign. So you kind of have to, I think what Marjorie Taylor Greene is not necessarily understanding is that when you are in the highest position in the entire country, it's kind of hard to say, I'm just going to focus on domestic policy and you don't have any trade deals or foreign policy whatsoever.
Posted on X that President Trump is, with his comments, fueling a, quote, hotbed of threats against you. Obviously, any threats to your safety are completely unacceptable. But we have seen these kinds of attacks or criticism from the president at other people. It's not new. And with respect, I haven't heard you speak out about it until it was directed at you.
Dana, I think that's fair criticism. And I would like to say humbly, I'm sorry for taking part in the toxic politics. It's
Now, see, this is where most people going to have a problem with. Why are you apologizing to the same people who basically smear campaign conservatives and Republicans across the board, and not just Donald Trump, but people who support him? This is what MAGA is going to have a problem with. You apologizing to CNN and the left, who smear campaign not only Trump, but other conservatives and the retired Republican Party completely. And you out here apologizing to them.
very bad for our country. And it's been something I've thought about a lot, especially since Charlie Kirk was assassinated, is that I'm only responsible for myself and my own words and actions. And I am committed, and I've been working on this a lot lately, to put down the knives in politics. I really just want to see people.
Let me just make this clear. I don't know if she's been paying attention to social media after Charlie Kirk's death, but people have been smear campaigning him as well, calling him a racist, and he should have ate the bullet, and this is why somebody killed him, and this is why da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, people have been wishing death upon people on the right for a minute. And we had a poll that surveyed that showed pretty much people on the left wish political violence on people on the right. Conservatives, Republicans, pretty much the whole thing, the whole nine. So I don't necessarily think the apology is what she should have done. But I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't have a problem with Marjorie Taylor Greene at all. I think she's a good person. I think she's a good woman. I think she does her job pretty good. I just don't see the point in apologizing to Dana Bash, CNN, and the rest of the left. Because when have they ever apologized to Republicans for all the stuff that they have said about Republicans? Never, right? They can't even denounce political violence from their end. So why are we apologizing? This is what MAGA is going to have a problem with when it comes to Marjorie Taylor Greene.
We'll be kind to one another, and we need to figure out a new path forward that is focused on the American people, because as Americans, no matter what side of the aisle we're on, we have far more in common than we have differences.
Yeah.
And we need to be able to respect each other with our disagreements.
So just to put a button on this, do you regret the things that you have said and posted in the past, the Facebook post that was taken down of you in 2020 holding a gun alongside the squad, encouraging people to go on the offense against the socialists, liking a tweet of somebody calling for the execution of Nancy Pelosi and former President Obama, just examples?
Well,
And of course, Dana Bash is going to pull out the receipts and all of that. He's going to pull out the receipts and all of that. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, Dana, as you know, and many people know, I addressed that back in 2021. And of course, I never want to cause any harm or anything bad for anyone. So that was addressed back then, and I very much stand by my words I said then, and I stand by my words today. I think America needs to come together and end all the toxic, dangerous rhetoric and divide. And I'm leading the way with my own example, and I hope that President Trump can do the same.
Okay, so on that, I do want to ask you about something you posted just yesterday on X. You questioned who and what country is putting so much pressure on Trump to keep the Epstein files hidden. And you included a picture about donations from pro-Israel lobbying group AIPAC. What are you trying to say there?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's the question that many Americans are asking, especially when we saw information recently come out in these emails that the Oversight Committee that I serve on has released. And we saw Jeffrey Epstein with ties to Ehud Barak. We saw him making business deals with them, also business deals that involved the Israeli government, and seems to have led into their intel agencies. And I think the right question is to ask is, was Jeffrey Epstein working for Israel? And I'm proud to say I don't take money from AIPAC. I don't take money from any special group of people. I'm just representing my district and the American people. And so that's what I was referring to.
I just want to be clear. Are you saying Israel is pushing the president of the United States to cover up the Epstein files? And what evidence do you have that that is the case?
I simply just asked out loud, is there a foreign government? It could be any foreign government, but is a foreign government pushing to keep this covered up? Because people just don't understand the big fight against.
Well, you had AIPAC up there. It was pretty clear which government you were talking about.
That I'm questioning that government in particular and questioning any other foreign government.
Okay, when you're talking about lowering the rhetoric, which is important for everybody to hear from you and all of our elected officials, but there is some concern, a lot of concern among Republicans about the rise of anti-Semitic hard-right figures in your movement, especially after Tucker Carlson hosted white nationalist Nick Fuentes on his podcast, didn't question Fuentes about his vile language or views. You did speak at a conference hosted by Fuentes back in 2022. You were criticized and you said then that you didn't know about his views. Well, Fuentes talked to Carlson about that in the interview. Listen to what he said.
They turn away and they take super long to load up, and it's almost like goddamn.
Well, again, with Marjorie, I was my conference, and then the day after she pretended like she didn't know me.
Spoke at my conference, and then the day after she pretended like she didn't know me. First I was speaking at, she knew exactly what it was.
What do you say to that?
Well, first of all, I defend every single person's free speech rights. I think that's incredibly important. So I don't apologize for that. And I don't believe in canceling people. And I think it's important for people like Tucker Carlson and yourself to interview everyone. I don't believe in trying to cancel someone by refusing to interview them and question them. And I did speak at his conference back in 2022. However, I don't know Nick Fuentes. He's someone I've never exchanged text messages with or phone calls, but I did speak at his conference. That was the first time I had met him that day, and that was it. So, but I did watch the interview. I watched the full interview with Tucker, and I admire him for interviewing many people as well as exposing a lot of powerful information.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying about free speech. I mean, count me as guilty as a proponent of free speech. There's free speech, and then there is hate speech. And this is a man invited on a really prominent conservative show who said, even during that interview, he had a problem with, quote, organized Jewry, and he wasn't challenged on it. In the past, he has denied the Holocaust, called Adolf Hitler effing cool, talked about the fact that he thought Jim Crow was just fine, and on and on. So again, there's free speech, and then there's just hateful language and sentiments.
Well, Dana, again, I told you on this interview that I'm committed to ending the toxic politics, and I think I don't want to have anything to do with it. You should have Nick Fuentes on your show, and you could ask him questions about that. I myself am not anti-Semitic. I have never criticized the Jewish people or said anything about them in particular. I am critical of the government of Israel, and I can criticize any government I want to in the entire world, as well as our own. And a lot of the times I'm criticizing our own government for failing the American people. And I think that needs to be the focus. And that's the most important thing people care about, is being able to afford groceries, housing, health insurance, and having a good quality of life. Yeah.
And I hear you saying you're not
AKA, I'm going to stand 10 toes down, and I'm not apologizing on this one.
Anti-Semitic, and you've said it before, and some of the posts that you have put up, which you have apologized for, certainly have tropes in them that have been used historically against Jews. But I do want to end this conversation with a question to you, and that is, do you see a situation where you and President Trump can make up? And if not, do you think you have a future in the GOP?
Well, I certainly hope that we can make up. And there's, again, I can only speak for myself. I'm a Christian, and one of the most important parts of our faith is forgiveness. And that's something I'm committed to. That's why I can easily come on your show that is watched all over the world, and I can say things I'm sorry for, and I can try to set an example of how I think we should move forward as Americans. And so, of course, on my end, I believe in that, and I certainly hope to see that happen.
Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, I appreciate you coming on this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, so see, now you heard all of that. So I think what this really come down to is that she didn't get what she wanted. Now she's probably going to go on this, because she also went on The View as well, too. Why would you go on The View with a bunch of cackling hens that's going to talk about you after you leave? They are literally going to talk about you after you leave. But that's all for tonight. Like, comment, let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, and subscribe. And peace out.